Hello, everybody, and welcome to the best damn fantasy football podcast of all time. I'm your host, Kyle. We got Johnny, Luke, and a special guest today, Faraz. Faraz, what's going on, brother?
Doing great, man. I really appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have you. Faraz is from UpperHandFantasy. He has been doing this much longer than we have. He's much better than we are, and he honestly looks a lot better than we do. So definitely check him out. UpperHandFantasy. Faraz, tell us a little bit about kind of what you do over there and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been, basically what I'm doing is I'm putting out as much fantasy football content as possible. I am trying to get, help as many people as possible actually win their leagues, right? But what I want to do is I want to can I curse on this podcast?
Absolutely. Come on.
Okay, good. I want to make sure that I'm very clear that any advice that I give is no bullshit, right? I don't want to, just like a player for the sake of liking them or, hoping that, shit sticks to the wall, type of thing. If I hear a lot of hype on a player, what I like to do is I like to actually look into it. And is there is that hype warranted? And if it is, then I'm on board. And if it isn't, I just tell you, I won't, I'll tell it like it is. And I'll tell you that I don't see it for that player, in any particular year. So that's kind of how I do it. I'm a big numbers guy, just because I like the fact that I can depend on them. But yeah, I've been trying to put out as much fantasy football content over the past, I think it's 3 seasons now, going into my 4th season. I've been playing for a long time, but I just love it. And I think it comes out in the content. But most of my stuff is over, on Instagram, but I'm kind of all over the place as well.
Yeah, awesome. Looking at the website right now, it looks awesome. That's upperhandfantasy.com. And then, yeah, it looks like your Instagram is kind of growing up to 14,500 followers. So you're doing something right, man.
I'm trying.
Yeah, you say you're not a fan of hype and just going with it. So what you're really saying is you're not a fan of the Browns every season.
You know what's funny about that? Like, I thought that they might have been able to do something last year.
Yeah, that was a big hype
there
train.
were way too many factors. Once you get into the season, you're like, oh, this is not going to work.
You just have to take into account that if a team is in Cleveland, you have to go into the year with 3 losses right off the bat.
100%.
So it's just like, if you're playing in the SEC and you're playing on the road, you're 3 points in the hole. That's kind of how it works for Cleveland teams.
Man, every year we go to Biloxi, Mississippi to go to the casinos and put some bets down on the season. Last year, I swear, the Browns' odds of winning the Super Bowl was the 3rd highest in the NFL. That's how much hype they were getting.
Absolutely no sense.
That's how much people were putting money on that hype. It was absolutely incredible. So it tickles my butthole when they crash and burn every year.
And I asked if I could curse in this podcast. All right.
Yeah. I hope that's
No.
We just get warmed up, man. All right. Well, we'll go into our first topic, which is if you were an NFL GM and you were basically drafting the NFL from scratch. So that's 32 teams, all the players available. Where do you rank guys like Tua, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert? So they all came out this year. They were drafted this year. So again, if you're starting your franchise, where are you putting those guys? And I guess, Johnny, I'll turn it over to you. What do you think?
It's tough because they're all 3 rookies coming out. And so basically you've got to basically come at this just like a fantasy football draft. I'd take all 3 of them in late rounds. I'd take Burrow first because he's got the best pocket presence of the 3. Anytime there's pressures on his backside, he's got that instinct to jump up inside of the pocket, and I believe that that translates well into the NFL. Secondly, I would take Bear for more or less of the same reasons as I would with Burrow. He's got an arm. He's got a deadly arm. He can throw the ball. He's got pocket presence just like Burrow does. He's a little more rusty than Burrow is. That's why I would take him behind Burrow, and then Tua would be third because I like his mobile ability, but I don't trust his injury proneness. So yeah, I'd go Burrow, Bear, and Tua all late rounds.
So where would you put Burrow in the overall, say, 32 quarterbacks?
I'd put him
top 10 guy if you're
24.
starting your go
No,
ahead.
24. 24.
So you got him way down there.
I have them back. I have all three of them back.
Wow.
They're not proven.
Put some
I don't
respect behind that man's name.
trust me.
boy.
I'm an LSU fan. I'm an LSU guy. I saw him 2 years ago, and it wasn't pretty.
You're talking about the most pro-ready quarterback of all time. You putting him down at 24.
24. I think Josh Allen has a better record than Burrow does at this point.
Yeah, but you're about to start your franchise. You want Josh Allen over Joe Burrow?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, well, I guess, yeah, it's kind of you know what you're going to get with Allen, whereas Burrow is kind of an unknown. So that sounds
Do
good.
you?
So, all right, well, Luke, you next. What do you got?
All right. Well, for me, I think you have like a clear-cut 4 that are going to go in the top of that kind of draft: Mahomes, Lamar, Russell Wilson, and then Deshaun Watson. And then for me, I had another 3 guys that I would probably take before Joe, Tua, or Herbert in a 5-year span. For me, I would definitely draft Aaron Rodgers, Dak, and Carson Wentz above him. So that puts Joe at about 8 deep for me. But at that point, I think I would probably pull the trigger on Joe. I'm really high on Joe Burrow, obviously. Literally, his YouTube videos are football porn. It's just insane at this point. He drops dimes, his anticipation, da-da-da-da-da. We talk about it all the time. We hear about it all the time. So I'm going Joe probably right after Carson Wentz. And if I went before him, I mean, personally, I probably would, but people would call you crazy because Carson's a pretty damn good quarterback and young. And he's young as well. So I got Burrow at 8. Then I'm going the next kind of young quarterback group. I got Kyler, Jared Goff, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold. I like Kyler the most out of those guys. I really think he's got a good moxie. I think he's got a lot of Russell Wilson in him, and I'm high on him. Goff last year wasn't great. 2 years ago was pretty nasty. Josh Allen's a gamer. He keeps you in him. I don't know how much he's going to win games for you. I think the defense has been doing a good job of that up in Buffalo. And then after him, I got Darnold. I like Sam Darnold. I just, with all the weird injuries and playing for Adam Gase, it's just inconsistencies scare me with him. So again, we got Burrow at 8, Kyler 9, Goff 10, Allen 11, Darnold 12, and then Tua comes into the equation for me. I'm really the injuries absolutely scare you. He had him every year in Alabama, but the guy, from a lot of intelligent quarterback people, is one of the top prospects they've ever seen coming into college, and he didn't really do anything to lose that. So for me, I got Tua coming in there because I would definitely rather have Tua in 5 years than Cousins, Stafford, Ryan. 3 guys kind of on the downslopes of their career, all very good players in their own rights. But again, I'd rather have that youth in Tua. Then I got a couple of dudes that I hate Baker Mayfield, but I still think I'd rather have him than Herbert this year. And Ryan Tannehill, who the hell knows? But I would go those 2, I think, just because they have some sort of a track record before Herbert. And then I have Herbert coming in last after them. So again, I'm not that high on Herbert for the foreseeable future. I just don't trust him going into Anthony Lynn in a defensive system like that. But overall, I think it's a solid class. I think all 3 guys will eventually contribute, but I got Burrow right off the rip, probably going to be the top guy.
Damn, number 8 overall too, right? So we said.
Yep.
Johnny, I don't know what it is, but you and Luke are always on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
FantasyFails, baby. That's what I'm about.
Well, very well put, Luke. So for us, we got a lot of homerism here on Joe Burrow. We got Ohio guys and Louisiana guys. Where do you think those 3 stack up?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked them the way they were drafted. To me, I mean, Joe Burrow, Tua, Justin Herbert. That's kind of how I look at it. I mean, the thing with Joe Herbert, he's I'm sorry, with Joe Burrow, he played with Joe Brady, and Joe Brady is a guy who was in New Orleans. He picked up a lot from Sean Payton, and now he's going back to the NFL. So there's a lot of that NFL caliber, NFL style pro offense, ready. In Joe Burrow. And, he was able to do a lot with that, obviously, right? I mean, he killed it. So, in a pass-heavy offense, he's going to, Zach Taylor's system now, and that is, a system that runs a lot of three wide. And they're going to, a lot of 11 personnel, and they're going to be able to they're going to throw the ball a lot, and they have the receivers to do it. So I honestly think he can step in year one and do some damage, right? Now, Kyler Murray, coming in last year, he was also going into, Cliff Kingsbury's system where, it's a spread offense as well. And he did pretty good. So I think Joe Burrow can have that type of season, maybe even better, because I think he's going to have more support in the run game, right? So I think he'll be a little bit more set up for success than Kyle was coming in. And because of that, he can have a more efficient season than Kyle did. So I think he is somebody who's coming in year one who can make an impact, and he's obviously going to get the start in week one. As far as Tua goes, I'm a fan of him. He's also somebody who is pro ready, explosive offense, efficient. He has experience with playmakers, right? Guys who have been drafted this year in the NFL, and he's going to be able to do some damage. Now, is he going to be able to fight off Ryan Fitzpatrick this year? Maybe, maybe not. There were rumors that he's going to get the start in week one, most likely. But I mean, the fact that Ryan Fitzpatrick got his old offensive coordinator that he's played with on two other teams in the AFC East, that might not happen in week one. But that's the order I kind of see those three guys.
Right. So where do you put, I guess, Burrow overall then?
I would say he would be like a top 18 guy.
Okay.
I think that because of the fact that he's going to be rolling into week one. Now, I want to see training camp actually happen, right? And it's tough, as a rookie, if there's more virtual than not. If training camp's going to happen as it would have, in any normal year, then I would like these guys a little bit more. But if there's more virtual stuff, not as many reps, then it's going to be tough to have both quarterbacks and wide receivers. It'll be tough to expect too much out of any of them.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, the virtual workouts and virtual Zoom meetings for like training camp. I mean, that's crazy. So hopefully it all gets kind of back to normal here soon, so we can see some actual football going. So obviously, yeah, this is all speculative, but I would put Burrow probably right up there in the 10 spot myself. He's the most pro-ready guy to come out in so long, man. I'm ready. I'm a Bengals fan, so it gets me excited too. So obviously a little bit of bias.
Where's the O-line for him though? That's my concern with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
A lot of steroids pumping out of Cincinnati right now. You better watch out.
You got a hookup, Luke?
That's Luke Seiger.
No, but I know a guy.
All right. We'll move on to the next topic. Probably my favorite topic of all the podcasts so far. The NFL's all-time best trash talkers. So that is where we specialize. That is what we focus on, what we love at FantasyFails. So I love to talk about this topic. Faraz, you're the guest, man. We'll turn it over to you. Who do you got all-time greatest trash talker?
He's also one of my favorite players, so I'm a little bit biased. Like when you say trash talker, you could have said a lot of other things, and I would have still chose Hines Ward. Now, I'm a Jets fan. He was actually on the coaching staff of the Jets last year, which I was really happy about. But 2009, he was voted dirtiest player of the year by his peers. So that tells you a lot. Not only was he talking shit, but he was also blindside hitting linebackers.
Yeah,
I think he broke a Bengals player's jaw, if I'm not mistaken.
Keith Rivers, they wrote a new rule out of that.
That's right. Keith Rivers. I think he hit him on a blindside hit. And then after the game, and mind you, he's a wide receiver, right? And after the game, he goes, I think he's like, I'm sorry that he got hurt, but I'm not sorry I hit him. Right. So he just keeps going with it. Like a man just broke his jaw and he's like, I don't give a shit. It's almost like you shouldn't have been there. You know what I mean? But the way that, he'll talk shit, like he was a great blocker downfield too, right? And he'll talk shit while he's blocking. Like I said, he'll blindside hit a linebacker. He talks shit after a catch. He'll just look at a guy. He'll smile, right? And his smile was just like, it's more than shit talking, right? I think smiling probably pisses people off more than anything else. Like he can talk about someone's mama, right? And that would have been like better than the way that he smiles at people after like a big play. You know what I mean? And like
I completely agree.
I feel it.
I
And, like,
hated
the way
him
he
for
did
that
it
smile.
was just so obnoxious. You can't help but laugh. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, it's one of my favorite guys right there.
I mean, I can cry, can't I? After Keith had to sip from a straw for like 4 months after that one.
Dude, that ruined Keith Rivers' career, man. That
Right?
yes, you
Ended him.
dude. That is a great one.
You guys need tougher players.
Oh man,
Froz over
Yeah,
here just
dude.
making fun of him like that. Come on, man.
Dude, I got my blood boiling right now just thinking about Heinz Ward. Oh, that's a good one. All right, Luke, who you got?
I got my dude Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp to me is one of the most entertaining guys to come out of sports in a long time. He's kind of like the NFL's version of Charles Barkley, if you will. But there are some fantastic stories and videos of Shannon Sharp in the mid 90s, just going at other teams. Two of my favorite all time trash talking scenarios involve Shannon. One being when they were whooping the Patriots. He picked up the phone in front of the camera and said he was calling the president to bring in the National Guard because they were killing all the Patriots. And to me, that was just hilarious. So he had the whole sideline going, calling the president, all that kind of stuff, which just made for great TV on NFL film. So I really enjoyed watching that. But honestly, the greatest trash talking story I've ever heard was, I believe it was in '98, but it was Broncos playing the Chiefs. And Shannon Sharp was just going at Derek Thomas the whole game. Derek Thomas, I think he's a Hall of Famer, incredible linebacker. But on one of the last drives of the game, Shannon Sharp just barked out his girlfriend's phone number over and over and over. And on that drive, Shannon Sharp was able to draw 5 personal foul penalties against the Chiefs, 3 of those being against Derek Thomas because he literally just said her number over and over and over.
Oh my god!
So to me, in the 90s, to memorize the phone number, to wait till the last drive of the game, and to deliver it, man, that's incredible.
That's impressive right there. I never heard that story. I'm so happy to hear that. That's amazing.
Turn trash talking to yards. Perfect.
All right, Johnny, who you got?
All right, I'm going to read a few quotes before I say who it is. I look in the eyes of all of my victims before I take their lunch money. That film was a coaching session. They're going to be coaching that. I'm 35 years old, and I ran around the boys like they were schoolyard kids. Family members get to see you play. Ex-girlfriends that wish they wouldn't have dumped you, they're questioning themselves right now. Mr. Steve Smith Sr. Good God, that guy's got a mouth. The NFC South is a finesse division. The AFC North is physical, downhill, blue-collar football. Oh, man, they keep going. I mean, this guy is legendary. He's still doing it. He's on the NFL Network right now, still talking trash.
You know, that is kind of a good point. All 3 of those guys are on TV still.
Right.
Give him a mic, man.
Yep.
If you could talk good trash, you can go far in life.
Right. Can't wait for Phillip Rivers to get in the booth.
Yeah, no kidding, right? All right, so Steve Smith, another good one, man. Yeah, so yeah, he kind of beat on the Saints for quite a few years. It came and beat.
Yeah, a few of these were at the Saints.
Yeah, shit, he beat on the AFC North for a while. Luke,
Yeah,
you remember when he big manned Adam Pac-Man Jones?
threw him in the ground like a rag doll.
On his way to like a
Deserves
70-yard
it,
touchdown.
for sure.
I
Even
think he was
after-
laughing half the way.
Even after Steve Smith retired, he was still ragging on DJ Moore. You guys probably saw that clip when he was talking to Cam Newton and asked him if he should start DJ Moore in his fantasy team. And he looked at DJ Moore. He's like, "Yo, if you shit the bed, like I'm gonna punch you in the face."
Oh shit! And also, all 3 of these guys, they backed up their play too, didn't they? Or they backed up their mouth with their play.
100%.
I think they're all Hall of
He's a
Famers.
small guy. He's a small guy too. So like he talked a lot of shit, but he backed it up.
Will Steve Smith be a Hall of Famer?
I mean, I think so too, man. He's got a shit ton of catches. I mean, won a hell of a lot of games. Was he on the Ravens when they won the world or the Super Bowl?
Sure was. 。
Yeah, that's what I thought. So he's got a Lombardi too.
Yeah. Plus, being on TV, still being in the kind of the news is never a bad thing for a Hall of Fame bid. Sorry,
Yeah,
my computer.
that's a good point.
Here's a quote. You can ask my wife about my stamina.
All right. Well, I got the last one here. So there's 3 things in life that's certain: death, taxes, and 85 always going to be open. My man Chad Ocho Cinco. Dude, I think it was it was probably 2005. He sent the care packages to the Browns, and it had Pepto Bismol in it, Tums, and he said he's going to turn them, basically turn them inside out, and they were going to need all that medicine to feel better after the game. So not only, man, he would talk shit. He still talks shit to this day. He's a huge FIFA guy, and he's still trash talking basically every kid that he comes across on FIFA. But back when he was playing, he would talk trash. I think he would be a Hall of Fame ballot if he hadn't put a Hall of Fame jacket on in the middle of a game. So he's got that type of career.
That'll do it.
So I mean, yeah. So he would talk trash. He would also he always had a beef with like the biggest guy on the field. So Luke, you'll probably remember this pretty vividly, but he would like go at Ray fucking Lewis. He would go and like, try to knock Ray on his ass. You're talking about probably the best linebacker in our generation. And he would try to go across the middle and pop Ray and knock him down. Every single time, Ray would kill him. Like Ray literally like took his head off like 3 or 4 times. And he would get up and like shake his hand and tell him good job. So, so is it trash talk? Is it just pure insanity? I don't know. But, obviously, and then he's bribing the refs. So he was a good trash talker, a good entertainer, and still funny as hell to this day.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite players of all time. When you combine his play and his trash talking and the entertainment. I actually got a funny story about Ocho Cinco. I went to a movie with Ocho Cinco one time. So me and some buddies, we were at a conference in Cincinnati, right? When he was playing for the Bengals. We were in a conference. We were all dressed up. We had all our suits on. And this was after the conference. We went back to the hotel. My boy, we just got back to the hotel. We're all in the same hotel room. He's taking a shit. And Chad Ochocinco was like, he tweeted out like, "Hey, who wants to go to the movies with me tonight?" Right. And we were in Cincinnati, and like my boy just randomly like replied to his tweet, and he responded like, "Hey, all right, bring your boys and come through." So we were like, "Yo, are you serious?" So we walked across the bridge to Kentucky, right? Because that's where the movie theater was. We walked across the bridge. We met him there. He was with his mom and his Evelyn, I think that's her name was, his wife, or his girl.
Housewives, baby.
That crazy lady. And you're talking about him being a great shit talker, right? So we were all still in our suits, right, from the conference, going to a fucking movie with him. And like he looks at us, he's like, "You guys knocking on doors all day? You guys look like Jehovah's Witnesses out here." He's like, "All right, let's go watch this movie." We're like, "All right,
that's cool. Sweet."
I love it. Yeah, his personality came out no matter what. We watched Saw. I think it was Saw 3, something like that.
Oh, shit.
With his mom?
With his mom.
Yeah.
With his mom.
Dude, that's awesome. Wild, man.
That's a sweet story, man.
Hilarious. He's hilarious.
Hey, man, if we reach out to Ocho Cinco, try to get him on the show, we're going to be like, "Hey, yo, Faraz? He was on the show. Come on.
How can you forget? Like, you went to the movies one time, and there was 3 dudes in a suit.
Yeah. Dude, that is unreal.
With your mom.
Oh, man.
But the funny thing is, he's probably done that like 5 times in his life.
Dude, like he's like that. You know what I mean? He's all about like the community and all that. Like it's really cool. You know what I mean? He's just like a normal dude.
That's unreal. All right, so there's our top 4 shit talkers in NFL history. That's a good list, man. I love it. All right, so brings us to our last topic, the GOAT of the week. Ah, man. This one was so damn easy. It's so easy right now because, NFL players, they always fuck up. They always say something stupid. They do something stupid. Wait till the season starts. It's going to be even easier. But this week's GOAT of the week, Jameis Winston. Jabo wins, baby.
Who that?
All right, so
that
I'm going to turn over to you guys a pile on quickly because it's going to be so easy to do. But what came out of Jameis's mouth this week was he is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL. Face palm, dude. Johnny, and now he's
I honestly,
the backup quarterback in the Big Easy. What's he thinking?
Good God. I what is he thinking? He's thinking that those 4,000 yards that he gained last year with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin is going to make him a Hall of Famer or something. I don't know. He took a big cut. I'm going to give him that. He took a big pay cut to be behind Drew Brees. He almost had a starting spot here in the past 2 weeks because Michael Thomas was ready to throw freaking Drew Brees to the woods, to the wolves, because good God, dude, he was go to the week last week. So now we've got the backup quarterback for my team. Jabu wins. Mr. Crab Legs, Mr. Eat a W. I mean, this guy is a walking goat for us. I mean, what is he thinking? God knows, man. I can't explain it. I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He was good in college. Does he still have that? No, he does not. Maybe the eye surgery. Maybe that
you got to
tweaks
fix his eye.
something. I don't know.
So Luke, you wrote a pretty good article about him on FantasyFails. What do you think?
honestly, I like the scenario I picture in my head was a few years back. I want to say it was the Blue Jays manager was getting fired and he knew it, and they were in Colorado playing an interleague game, and he literally like smoked pot on the bench to try it. He was just done, and he gave an interview, and it was fucking hilarious. My picture is Jameis just sitting somewhere in Denver, like giving an interview with a fat blunt, being like, "Yo, man, listen up. I threw for 30 touchdowns last year. I might be the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, give me one more year. We'll be there." And honestly, I think he truly meant it. So for that, I have to give it to Jameis. Keep living the dream, my brother. Enjoy Denver, but I would maybe not record your interviews for a little bit.
Maybe just never say anything ever again. Fraz, anything to add on J-Mo?
Yeah, I mean, everybody was, I think a lot of people were giving Jameis the benefit of the doubt for a long time, right? And then when he started just eating that W, like, I think 50% of those people were just like, all right, I'm done.
I can't even watch that video.
It's just like, it was so gross. Like it was just like, we were just like, oh man, like, are you really doing this right now? And like his teammates, you could see the looks in their faces. They were just like, dude, please stop. Just stop. Stop right now. And he kept going and going and going. But you know what? I like his mentality. You know what I mean? He's like, yo, I'm the best. And that's cool. And I know you see, the thing is, like, he has like the talent, right? He has the ability, right? He's like a poor man's Brett Favre. That's what he's going for. You know what I mean? That's what he's going for. That's what he kind of wishes he was. And I get it. You know what I mean? He has the tools. So I think what he's trying to do right now, go to the Saints, kind of refine his game. He's going to be like, yo, Sean, how can I just throw less interceptions, man? That's all I'm trying to do here. And I think that, with the right support, maybe he can, get that stuff control. I think Bruce Arians isn't really the guy who's going to, like, punish a guy for throwing interceptions. You know what I mean? Like, he has done in the past with, like, Carson Palmer and stuff, but I think that's more of a, credit to Carson Palmer than it is to someone like Bruce Arians. So I think he can eventually, make it happen. He has the talent. It's just a matter of, like, just getting it together, but how long are we going to give him, right? How long of a leash you give him, but you just kind of, like, hang your hat on the fact that, he gets production, but it's just the turnovers are a huge issue.
No doubt.
Hey, for Oz, real quick, so 2021, who do you think has a bigger year, Jameis or Cam?
2021?
Right. So not this year. Obviously, we really have no idea on either of them.
That's a good
Neither
question.
will probably start, but who you got 2021?
Jameis is going to – okay, so both – see, the thing is, Jameis is probably going to be on a new team.
I agree.
Cam, I could see wherever he signs this year. Will he sign for a one-year deal? I don't know, right? He might be on a team that ends up just losing their quarterback to an injury and then him signing on, but does he sign for a 1 year, right? I would say Jameis. I think in 2021, Cam is going to be a year older. Obviously one of his main weapon is his legs, right, and his rushing ability. So that can waver, as he gets a little bit older, right? He's not the most accurate quarterback in the world. He doesn't put up gaudy passing stats, right? So I think Jameis would have that opportunity after 1 year spent with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. I think a team will sign him to a lucrative contract in 2021.
Fair enough.
I'm betting that'll be in New Orleans.
Ooh.
Johnny, you think Taysom's
Who's
the
in New
future down
Orleans?
there? I think Jameis is there for a reason. He'll get a little bit of daylight this year when Drew Brees' noodle arm is acting up again. You'll see Jameis in there. So there's your future, man. Might as well go ahead and go get your jersey signed.
I'm Team Taysom.
So James, yeah, I mean he's 26 years old. He's your prototypical quarterback, 6'4". He's the first quarterback in history to get 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in one season. That's not defending him. That's terrible. We'll see where it goes.
Hey man,
I can't
it's
wait.
impressive, I guess.
That is so impressive. All right. Well, y'all, that's it. Faraz, man, we appreciate you joining us here. That was about 30 minutes, went a little longer than I expected, but I think that was good stuff. So we'll have to get you on again sometime. Again, this is the FantasyFails group. Faraz from UpperHandFantasy. And that's it. We'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Later.